So, a friend of mine called me recently and asked, "Hey, have you applied for the Athena Executive Partner role?" Now, I've been working as a freelance remote executive assistant for almost 4 years, but I hadn't heard of Athena before. Naturally, I did a little digging, and it turns out Athena is hiring virtual executive assistants from all over the world. And they're offering solid pay, great health benefits, and even a pet allowance. Sounds pretty sweet, right? But here's the catch. Tons of people online were saying the application process is no joke. We're talking mind-bending tests, intense interviews, and some seriously tricky questions during the final validation call. The worst part? Those who've been through it don't spill much about what actually happens. So I decided to give it a shot myself and applied for the position. And now I'm here to tell you everything. Seriously, stick around because you won't believe what it takes to qualify for that pet allowance these days. Athena is a company that hires professional executive assistants, trains them, and matches them with clients from around the world. They offer several positions, but right now, they're mainly focused on building teams in the US, the Philippines, and even Kenya. The most popular role is the Executive Partner, or XP, which is basically a virtual executive assistant. Once you land the job, you'll be supporting top-level executives, CEOs, CFOs, COOs, you name it. The first step of the application process is super easy. All you have to do is fill out a simple questionnaire with your details and submit it online. After that, Athena will send you an email invitation for the next step, an assessment. Now, the time it takes for Athena to send these confirmation emails can vary, but I got mine almost immediately after submitting the questionnaire. Here's where things get a bit wild. A lot of applicants have been freaking out about the second stage, and for good reason. It's made up of 3 tests. The first is Assessment A, which takes 42 minutes, while Assessment B is a bit shorter at 18 minutes. The last one tests your social skills and takes only 10 minutes. The links to each test arrive in separate emails, and you get up to 3 days to complete all of them. You'll undergo several questions on the Test Gorilla platform to evaluate your logical and critical thinking skills. The key here is time management. Never let the timer hit 0 before you finish. If you're running out of time, it's better to guess the remaining answers rather than leaving them blank, but don't rely on guessing as your main strategy. I'd recommend practicing similar tests online before starting, so you're more comfortable with the format and the timer, because trust me, it won't wait for anyone. I'm not exactly sure what score you need to pass, but my scores were generally between 50% and 65%. I even got a 42% in one test. Based on that, I'd say you need to aim for at least above average to move on to the next stage. Next up is the language assessment. It only lasts 10 minutes, but it'll feel longer, believe me. You'll listen to audio clips and then repeat exactly what you hear. The clips are just a few seconds long, but here's the trick. Make sure you're in a quiet place because any background noise can get picked up and affect your accuracy. To pass, you need to hit at least a C1 level on the CEFR scale. I scored 7.5 out of 10, which put me in the C1 range, so I made it to the next round. After that, you'll need to provide a few personal details along with your CV. This information will be used by the interviewer in the next step. You'll get an email asking you to schedule your interview, and then another one with the actual link to the interview. Athena interviews are pretty straightforward, much like any other interview. Friendly, with the usual questions, and they only take about 30 minutes. But before I dive into the questions you'll be asked, it's important to remember that Athena focuses heavily on testing your executive presence. Aside from your knowledge of the role, they're looking at your ability to inspire confidence and lead with authority. They want to see that you can motivate others to be assertive in their roles through your own consistent display of confidence and leadership. The first key to showing executive presence is how you present yourself. Athena's theme color is black. So I wore a black suit to my interview, paired with a black tie that had subtle white patterns. Think of yourself as a CEO or founder, not just an employee. During my interview, the interviewer introduced themselves and gave a quick rundown of how things would go. The first question they asked was, "Can you tell me something about yourself that is not on your CV?" This is your chance to relax and let your personality shine. It's important to stay calm and friendly. Share a story, maybe about how growing up in the countryside sparked your love for animals, or how you've been a loyal fan of your favorite football team since childhood because their resilience and hard work mirror your own. Keep your answers simple and to the point, but don't be too stiff. Slow down, smile, and aim to build a connection. This helps set a friendly tone for the rest of the interview. The next question was, what made you apply for this role at Athena? Now, most people might jump into listing their skills and experience, but that's not really what the interviewer is after. They want to understand what drew you to their company specifically. In my response, I focused on the company name. I explained how it reminded me of the Greek goddess Athena, one of the 12 Olympian deities. She was the goddess of wisdom and warfare, so I discovered that Athena aims to inspire a similar spirit of bravery and strategic thinking in its employees. Then he asked, how do you understand the role of an executive partner? I explained that during my research I came across a video of Beth Velian, who I believe is one of Athena's co-founders. In the video, she was asked a similar question, and her response stuck with me. She said, virtual assistants are the Pepper Potts to the Tony Starks. By this, she meant that the company empowers talented individuals to provide top-level support to real-life superheroes. So, I explained that this role is about taking on essential tasks to allow these executives to focus on bigger accomplishments in both their personal and professional lives. The interviewer was already impressed by this point. We hadn't reached the key parts of the interview, but my knowledge of the company and storytelling had made an impact. The next questions were standard. He asked about my education background and work experience. For privacy reasons, I can't share my exact responses, but here are some tips on how you can structure your answers. When talking about your education background, it's important not to come across as too boastful, even if you've been a top achiever. Stay humble and explain how your academic accomplishments have equipped you with the knowledge needed for this role. For instance, you could mention how your love for math can be useful when preparing cost reduction plans for the executives you'll support. Make brief but meaningful connections between your education and the responsibilities of the position. As for the work experience, Athena only requires a minimum of 2 years work experience regardless of the industry, as long as it involved structured employment with consistent working hours. What's important here is that you connect your past roles to the 3 pillars of Athena: calendar management, inbox management, and travel management. For instance, you could emphasize how your previous job gave you hands-on experience with organizing and prioritizing emails, using tools like filters, flags, and stars to reach inbox 0. Additionally, you can highlight how your past roles taught you the skill of time blocking, a strategy where you divide your day into dedicated time blocks for specific tasks. This experience would have helped you master digital calendars, organize meetings, plan schedules, and ensure there were no conflicts. Keep in mind that Athena looks for candidates with experience in Google Workspace, which includes Gmail, Google Calendar, and Google Drive. Google Drive includes docs, sheets, forms, and slides. The company also values experience with project management tools like Notion. So, when talking about your previous work, be sure to mention how you use these tools. For example, when discussing your calendar management experience, highlight how you effectively utilized Google Calendar. If you'd like me to do a video diving deeper into the 3 pillars of Athena or exploring each Google Workspace tool individually, let me know in the comments below. After this segment, the interviewer wrapped up with a few yes or no questions, asking if I was available to start immediately and if I could provide a police clearance certificate after passing the remaining stages. I thanked the interviewer for his time, and the call ended. Within less than an hour, I received confirmation that I had passed the interview and was moving on to the next stage. By now, you've probably seen a lot of videos offering tips on the final interview and the subsequent final validation call. But most of those videos don't tell you exactly what happens during that last call. Well, I'm not like those people. Here's the cherry on top of the cake. The FVC is another Zoom meeting, but with a different interviewer. Instead of a typical interview, you're given 3 timed tasks to complete while sharing your screen so the interviewer can see what you're doing. The first task is to write an email in 3 minutes. There's no single right answer for this, but make sure your email follows a professional structure. Include a subject line, proper salutations, a clear body, and a closing. Use formal language instead of casual. Here's the exact question I was given. The second task is a Google Sheets task that you have to complete within 8 minutes. In my case, the first tab contained the instructions for the mini tasks, and the second tab was where I had to enter and format my answers according to those instructions. I'll link this sheet down below so you can download and practice with it. Don't worry, it's totally free, no charge at all. All I ask is that you hit the subscribe button and like this video. Stuff like that really helps out the channel, so I'll totally appreciate it. For the third and final task, you'll be given a scenario-based question. The goal here is to explain your thought process clearly and concisely as you respond to the situation. After completing the FVC, the interviewer told me I'd receive my results in the next 24 to 48 hours, but again, I received a confirmation email that I'd passed as soon as I got off the video call. And that's pretty much it. After completing the FVC, the next stage is personal data collection, where you'll submit your referees and emergency contacts so Athena can conduct a background check. Once that's done, you'll sign your offer letter and get scheduled for the 6-week training. If you'd also like me to cover what happens during the training, again, let me know in the comments below. In my experience, Athena's application and assessment processes are the longest and most challenging in the remote executive assistant field. But as the company looks to expand and accept candidates from different countries, I hope this video helps someone. I wish you all the best if you're currently in the application stage, and I hope you pass. Remember, you are the best thing that can happen in your life, so trust yourself. See you in the next one. Sticky out.